Science rules. Inertia is a property of matter. T minus 7 seconds.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. True. Very true, Reek. Yeah, I had considered maybe a sweeper in the realm of. Good to see you, Arthur. How you doing, my friend? Yeah, so something along that nature might definitely be appropriate. Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to think what I would cut though. I mean, I kind of just like kind of comboing off instead of worrying about sweeping. I mean, I know we have a couple of like sweepers in the board, like the Pyroclasm and the Anger of the Gods, but they're quick. They're not a two card combo. I mean, I know. Granted, this is an ancestral wheel deck, but and by the way, this idea first of all is not original at all. And actually, the shell for this I based roughly on. If you guys are looking at the Discord, I had an old list from 2017, piloted by, and I credit him here. His moto username's Truckus, and he had a 4-2 finished. This deck wants Blood Moons and Snapcasters. Well, what am I snapcasting though, Barkeem? Serum Visions? This is not a Blue Moon variant. It's turns. It's turns with a hint of red for Electrodominance. I am worried that the mana base isn't going to cast the Electro. That was something I was worried about, but this many islands, I might want to cut and add like one more red source. Maybe that's where we need to be, actually. Let's add another red source. Like, even if it's another Steam Vents, or maybe just another fetch. Yeah, another blue fetch would probably be a good idea. Or two, just because, like, if we were ever going to be playing any Blood Moons at all, I think more blue fetches is a good idea. Use the Snap Warp, yeah. I mean, we could throw some Snapcasters in here. I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea. Anyway, how have you guys been? Tonight's a catch-up, so I turned 28 on Wednesday, but I was just so exhausted from the work week this week, so I wanted to do a stream with you guys, but I was not available to do so. So we're kind of playing a little catch-up tonight. So, yeah, celebrating a belated birthday with you guys tonight for a little bit. I think we should just hop right in, but I'm excited about the dominances. I'm a little bit lighter on win conditions just because of them, because like we could always just blast them at the end. It's too bad it's an XX spell. We can only as foretold for 0 for Electrodominance, which actually that doesn't do anything for us, if you know what I mean. Just because it, you know. Whereas like something like Giga Drowse, it can pay for the initial cost of it, and then we can replicate it with additional mana. That's not going to work with Electro, I don't think. Actually, no, maybe that doesn't even work with Giga Drowse. You should play Nexus of Fate to go infinite. Yeah. Nexus of Fate, huh? I mean, we could. But, like, so does the Days Undoing. Like, the Days Undoing also shuffles all our turns back into the deck. Now, the original build of this deck had 2 Days Undoings, because if you Days Undoing and then the one that's in the graveyard goes back into the deck, and then that would truly allow you to be infinite. Nexus for beating Mill. I could get behind adding back in the second Days Undoing if that's where our mind is. I mean, I don't think we'll need to reshuffle the deck more than once, though. Like, I feel like going through our whole deck more than once is overkill. So, I'd rather go light on those kinds of effects and just, you know. And back, actually, when this list was first, when Truckus piloted this in a modern, it was a modern challenge, to a 4-2 finish, Jace the Mind Sculptor wasn't modern legal. So that definitely changes things for us. Having legal Jace the Mind Sculptor definitely changes things. Electrodominance being a card now. So I think for those reasons, I kind of want to run with this build. But I was happy to change the meta base with you guys. Things like that of that nature, I'm always down to change at the very end there. Oop, let me silence my cell phone. Let's jump in. Worst case scenario, we get destroyed. It's comp league, so I don't know how well turns can do in a comp league anyway. Even if it was like a legit build. There are other cards that are interesting to me from the new set. For example, I was interested in maybe even screwing around with like Escape Shift build because they added that new instant speed Explore. That seems cool to me. That definitely seems like a fun time. The new, because that would just change up the feel. Then it's not so much about like, actual explore anymore. It's more like, we're getting to kind of stay instant speed. That's definitely like, I'm having the most fun when I play something like Scape Shift if the deck remains as instant speed as possible. But anyway, maybe we just burn 12 tickets, but I think it's going to be a romp. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I haven't streamed with you guys in a long time because my new responsibilities and jobs, and it's a lot. It's a lot. But you guys know that anytime I get a free moment, I like to sit down with you guys and play a little bit of Magic. In fact, it's not set in stone, but if any of you guys are going to the event this weekend in New Jersey, I was going to maybe go with my friend Jim, and I was going to bring the Esper Shadow list I've been working on to that event. So I thought about playing it tonight, but I was like, I mean, if I'm going to spend a whole day playing it tomorrow, I'd rather play something kind of new, and ooh, this looks good. This is a 20-land deck, so you do not toss back a hand that's functional. And sure, it doesn't have any of the synergies, but we have no idea what we're up against, so let's go basic island. Just set it up. So there's another red source for us. Honestly, I'm going to bottom both of these lands. The third land has already presented itself. Now, we do have to make our land drops, though. Don't get me wrong. Our opponent is 0-1. Do we ever beat Burn ever? No, I doubt it. I mean, we could suspend the wheel, but that seems weak. Let's Serum Visions. Okay, so there's a Dominance. Let's go bottom top. Now, we could suspend this Ancestral. Something to think about. Might be correct to do so. Actually, I think it is. So we're going to suspend an Ancestral. Because I think we'd rather Wheel of Fate, like, Dominance into the wheel. Okay, he's playing Goblins. That's sweet. That is pretty sweet. Okay, so we could end step Dominance. Because we don't have a guaranteed land drop. So opponent should know something's up if I'm shocking myself. Now, unfortunately, an Electrodominance for 1 isn't going to kill a pile driver, but we might get to kill a different goblin. Oh, that sucks. So we get to kill the token. Oh, and I was supposed to kill it before the trigger. Like an idiot. The trigger's already on the stack, so this won't reduce the damage on the pile driver. Like an idiot. So he should still get the trigger here because it was already on the stack. Oh. Okay. Chandras and rituals and stuff? That's interesting. I'm a little scared that we've done that now. And it actually kind of would have been nice if I still had the exhaustion. Okay, no, we didn't take the extra damage. Okay. Maybe it's because it says for each other attacking goblin. Because we would be at 14 if that was the case. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm a little far away from the mic tonight. Sorry about that. All right, so yes, I would like to miracle that. Right on time. That's pretty sweet. We could even Electro into the wheel. We almost can cast this Jace. We could actually, no, what we're supposed to do is Foretold. We sound good? Because it vanished before it resolved. Now, the one thing that can't shuffle back into the deck is the Spirit Guides as you go along, but that's actually a good thing for the deck. Yeah, so I think we want to just... Let's ask Foretold, wheel. And then we'll take our additional turn. Don't forget about that Ancestral. Gosh, we're going off here, aren't we? So do I want to wheel or do I want to draw? Let's draw first before we wheel. Because we could wheel off of the Electrodominance. Okay, so we hit an Exhaustion. That's almost as good as Time Walking here since it's still early game. So what we might want to do is just maybe cast the Serum Visions. Okay, another Ancestral, another wheel. It's bonkers. Oh, too bad we hit the Mastery right there. Bottom, top. You know we're in a good position when I'm like bottoming some of our more powerful cards. We'll Exhaustion the opponent, and then he just has a War Boss and a token coming next turn. That's not a big deal. And I think we play the Steam Vents. We'll discard a fetch. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, we're kind of going off here. Let's draw 3. He's got bridges in there too. That's sweet. Okay, so we drew a Cryptic. That's also basically another Time Walk. We could get another Ask for Told going. Don't think that's the play though. Okay, I think our play is end step Electro in addition to Crypticing. Right? Oh, actually, we can do that with the As Foretold mana. So I can't cast the Cryptic and also do some of these other things. Next turn, we'll be able to start hard casting these. So I think we just pass. Because I can, if I really want to, I could Electrodominance the Ancestral, but I think that's unnecessary. I think we're sitting pretty, guys. I think we just pass and dump some land. I don't know if I want to dump all of it. Honestly, our hand's so good, I don't think we want to Fate. I think we're past that point. Always a treat to catch you streaming. Oh, I appreciate that, Mud Boy. Oh, you're a charity supporter. That's cool. I was trying to figure out what your little thing was about. That is pretty cool. We could end step Ancestral for style points. That also means that frees up my As Foretold to do something else next turn. Kind of like the style points. We did that through the As Foretold, and the Electrodominance allowed us to do it instant speed. Another Exhaustion. Alright, so we need to start taking extra turns pronto. So let's Foretold, hard cast the Mastery, a little bit of fast tap action if it lets me. What's my fast tap key? Should be W. There we go. It's always nice when you have like duels to do it that way. So now we should be able to just go off. Shouldn't be a problem. And you know what? Like an exhaustion is a time walk in this spot too. We don't have to just take additional turns. Like we could just pass it back to them and okay, there we go. Draw some cards. Draw some cards. All right, there we go. There's a time warp. Opponent's at 20. Hey, what's up, Jade? How's it going? All right, let's mastery again. I mean, we're looking for our. We technically do have a win condition in our hand. Like the dominance, if I keep making land drops, eventually is gonna. We should fire off one of these exhaustions, by the way, because that will need to be one of our. Hey, there's a Jace. Awesome. So let us just ultimate the Jace. Like there's no. We're gonna bottom that. There's no reason to sit around and wait. Let's exhaustion. Kick it back. So we are going to give our opponent another turn, but I mean, if you've been exhaustioned, it's not much of a turn. Good old stasis. That's wonderful. Now he does get the tokens. So that is the issue with using the exhaustion as a way to. You need to attack with these. It's still not quite as good as a. He's gonna go after Jace. It's fine. We could kill one of the goblins, but I think that's okay. Spirit Guide. Chalice. We're learning a lot about this guy's deck. I'm gonna say no. I shouldn't be fate sealing. We should still be Jace storming. That's kind of a mistake on my part. Let's do another exhaustion, actually. Because here at least I'll have a blocker. Actually, maybe I should have fate sealed the Chalice away. Because like now I mean, granted we only have so many Ancestrals left, but that also turns off the wheels. I mean, I think we can still win even off of my other engines, but block one. Yeah, we definitely should be Jace storming though. Definitely a mistake on my part, but hopefully we won't get too punished for that. We'll see. We shall see. Cryptic, okay, that's sweet. Mikokoro, okay. So, I mean, now we're pretty solid. Like, we can just draw out of this that way. Hit you with the Spirit Guide. Cast another Spirit Guide. And we'll draw. Yeah, at this point, I don't want to pass it back. I don't think we have to, is kind of the place I'm at. Like, we should actually just be able to beat him down with the, Simian Spirit Guides. Alright, so there's the Day's Undoing. Maybe he's hoping we deck, but we won't thanks to that card. So I think it is important to have some number of that card in your deck. Just seeing as how this went. And he's also at 12. Like we can just hit him with the Electrodominance for quite a bit, right? Like Chandra plus for mana. Isn't he also dead that way? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, hang on. That's to pay for the initial cost. So hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, he's just toast. Well, unless his hand's like something weird like double bolt, I guess we should attack first, right? Well, if it's double bolt, we have Cryptic Command to tap things down. And normally I'd be a little bit more methodical with how I'm doing things, but I just want to make sure we have enough clock. And it always feels good to kill somebody in Modern with Simian Spirit Guide. Hey, what's up, Kamikaze Maniac? Okay, so goblins mixed with like, they were an interesting deck, right? So they were goblins kind of mixed with, I mean, the chalices do matter. Braid also is just straight up removal, which is nice. I don't think this is a great matchup for the wheels, maybe? I mean, they can pump out their hand pretty quickly, I imagine. So we're worried about the goblin side of their deck. Those are all possibilities. Probably don't want any of these, for obvious reasons. We don't want Blood Moon. If you can't figure out why that's the case, Chad. I mean, would we ever cut one of the two Jaces? I also feel like the deck could benefit from a third Jace. I mean, this is our game to lose, right? Because we have a third game to potentially win. So, not that I'm going to throw it away on purpose. I'm just trying to think of how we could skinny things up. What would that look like if we did something like that? Is that crazy? It's kind of crazy. I am worried about these when our opponent's playing a deck that could pump out their hand pretty quickly. I don't know if I want as much of that effect. I mean, maybe Cryptic just... Their deck can probably get right underneath Cryptic. That's probably a bad idea, too. I mean, Jason, Chandra still being in the deck would just be... I have to keep some number of win conditions. We could cut something like the Talaria West. I think that's greedy. We know we're on the draw, so we definitely want Cavern. Would I ever cut a Time Warp? No, I don't think so. Which Planeswalker's worse in this matchup? Probably... Honestly, when it's like you have an opponent's deck that's like totally creatures, it's harder to justify Jace over Chandra. They're both very good. I mean, Jace, of course, is strong in this list just because of the masteries. When in doubt, we could always just trim like a Serum Visions or something that's just kind of... Oh, I'm sure that boarding was not correct at all, but how many times are we going to play against goblins mashed together with something cool like... I mean, they weren't like Scred Red, it was more just like Big Red. Would I keep this? I suppose. It's not great, but remember, we have a game to lose, a game to give, so to speak. Alright, so we can set this bad boy up. We're gonna bottom top. Oh, you know what? I should have topped. I'm such an idiot. I forgot that it was turn 1. No, chat. We had the opportunity. We could have miracled one of these. That's fine. If that was our plan though, if we didn't want to draw that land, what we should have done was bottom both. I don't know why I was thinking I'd have enough mana to cast that. If we had a Simian Spirit Guide, it'd be possible to miracle that mastery. No, that's okay though. Ooh, land ho. That is a lot of lands. That's not good. It's not a good sign, chat. We are a 20 land deck. I mean, granted, we're also playing 4 Spirit Guides, so it's more like there's 24 mana sources, if you want to think about it that way. And there's the War Boss. We'll dig it. So there's an Exhaustion. It's reasonable here. It turns off quite a bit. So I think I do it here. Slow our opponent's roll down a little. What did we sideboard out again? I don't know if the siding out the commands was correct, actually. He does get to mentor here, which sucks. This card's pretty sweet. Card is pretty sweet. Another Ancestral, but it's turned off here. We could play Miko, and then Miko at the end of his turn. We're going to take a lot of damage here, though, right? If he fires at the Mutavault. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 5. Opponent's going to Ritual. Another War Boss. Alright. Well, we're going to need like a Time Warp. It'll be tough with the Chalice, I'll admit. Hey, 3's not dead. Exhaustion. We're still dead. Alright, but we had a game to give. We'll win this third one, hopefully. I think I like how it is. I think I do like how it's. I mean, I think the 4th Serum Visions should be in there. After seeing all of the hate for our zeros, I mean, can we really hope to break through those chalices? So he's gonna have 4 chalices to my 2 Abrades. Does that mean we go further away from the wheels? It's nice to have wheel even as a tutor target because we do have a Tolaria West, so it's kind of like there's still 2 copies of wheel. Again, I don't really like wheel against opposing decks that are able to they're able to do a good job pumping out their hand. So he does have rituals and whatnot, even though it looks like he isn't a traditional goblin deck in that it takes some time to get going. So this hand might be a trap, because that would be like exiling one of these Spirit Guides to cast the Dominance to cast the Vision, but it does have an Exhaustion. And I guess if he tries to slam Chalice on 0, I could Spirit Guide out the Dominance in an oh crap situation. Or actually, we'll lead on Scalding Tarn so we don't have to spend both of them, but could essentially exchange these for other cards in our deck. And it's at that level, you know, how strong is this interaction, right? Because you're spending a card, and then of course in this case we might even be spending another card, right? It was quite an awkward draw. Hey, what's up, Ike? That was a lot. It's up, Cheese. It was a lot of land, I'll admit. And I don't know if you guys looked at my list. Excuse me, the list, I should say, because some of what I'm utilizing is based on a Moto user named Truckus. So I do want to make sure I credit the deck builder. But I kind of took it in a different direction and using some of the new cards that came out. And when he played the deck, they hadn't legalized Jace the Mind Sculptor, so that changes some things about the taking turns archetype, because Jace is pretty insane. Opponent's disconnected, so we'll leave it on the list for a moment, and I can eat some dinner and hang out with the guys. I don't know, that seems pretty bad if I'm going to spend that many cards just to... But, yeah, it's kind of like a It's like a looting effect. I saw a lot of people trying to do stuff with dominance, though. I think this card's cool. I think that the fact that it enables instant speed, living end, or restore balance is a huge plus. I think that's definitely a very powerful part of the shenanigans. But how are you guys doing? Sorry to eat on stream, but I'm starving. If you're just getting here, I had my 28th birthday earlier this week. So we'll just go scouting turn go. If he doesn't just chalice on 0, you know. Okay, no chalice on the 0. Cool. So there's no rush to dominance the ancestral out. Like we could even just Chandra here. Actually, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So let's Chandra into make mana into dominance into ancestral. Now we're talking. Instant speed living end is good. Oh, thanks, Kamikaze. I appreciate the birthday wishes. All right, chalice on 0. Ah, you had it the whole time. Had it the whole time. But we have a planeswalker, so. A Rabbles. All right, you got your Rabbles. You got your Rabbles. And the token generating goblins are quite good against exhaustion. Maybe we shouldn't be playing as many copies, but it makes sense to have though in this situation. So let's Chandra plus. We could also just kill the Rabble Master. That might have been the correct thing to do. I mean, I'm also fine with just exhaustioning, even if it's going to cut him down on what plays he can make next turn. Granted, the Rabble Master still being up. I'm probably just supposed to kill it with the Chandra. I think that was a mistake. It was a solid turn too, but like the Rabble Master I should have just killed the Rabble Master with the Chandra instead of playing around. Like now she's at 1 loyalty. My options are cut off. That was foolish on my part. It's okay. There we go. That's going to be very helpful. Dominance here. I mean, we could take out the... No. I think it is just play Thing in the Ice. So he has to send the whole team at the... Oh, those are new. He has to send the whole team at the Chandra. Ooh, Jaya. That's cool. Is this all going at Chandra? Sure. So that does suck, the Jaya. For us, I mean. Well, we're not going to win this one. That's okay, though. So he gets to Jaya, the Thing in the Ice. Like I said, I mean, I don't know if turns can win a competitive Modern League, but I thought it'd be fun, so we're definitely having fun. Game 1 was definitely a lot of fun. I don't know if I've ever seen Jaya played in Modern, so that's exciting. I know that she sees a lot of Legacy play. That's fine. Why is your Blood Moon still in? I'm the Blood Moon deck. I don't even know anymore. I probably should have suspended the Wheel of Fate. Or no, there's Chalice on 0. And I'm not trying to be defeatist and say, oh, we're always going to be poorly positioned against Chalice decks, but there's a reasonable chance that we're 1 man off here. There's a reasonable chance that we're going to be poorly positioned against Chalice of the Void decks. Good games, though. Yeah. No, I still think it's a cool deck. Like, I'm not You know, I'm not. I like to play our brews in a more competitive setting because that's fun for you guys to see us up against competitive decks that you're familiar with seeing. Yes, it's expensive on my end, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. You should put a Jaya in your Scred decks. No, I think that could have been a very different game if I had used my Chandra correctly. I think it was very foolish to keep trying to get card advantage off her. I should just have killed the rabble. Now, seeing how that draw turned out, I can't say that that one factor would have changed everything. Like the Chalice cutting us off until we drew in a braid is a problem. Oh. Yeah, I don't think I've never seen Jaya in Modern, so that's cool. I've seen it in Legacy on and off, but I've never seen it in Modern. Well, okay, so Chandra takes out Rabblemaster. The token kills Chandra, right? No, she might have been a 5 loyalty at that point. I think she could have minus and still lived, right? Because there was one token. So then that's dealt with. The Jai came down the turn after. So then from there we kind of have to figure out. But if Chandra was still alive, we could have used Chandra to help pay for the mastery that next turn, I think, right? It's hard to say now because I don't remember how many lands we had. But that's optimistic, best case scenario, what could have happened had I made a better play. Oh man, now we're getting the no-landers. Oh boy. That was something I worried about when I looked at the mana base of this thing. Oh, it's Demi. I know Demi. Really don't want to keep this, but it's tempting. We have a Scry and we're on the draw. I really shouldn't keep a hand like this, though. Like, there are a lot of 5s that would be more reasonable than this. And see, like, now, like, what I'm going to do is I have to consider keeping the Simeon. We filter it into blue. Oh, he's probably playing that Waste Not deck. Alright, well. So let's Serum Visions first. Okay, so lands, thank goodness. We're not ready for this wheel, are we? Well, we do have an As Foretold. We do have an As Foretold, but we also have an Ancestral. We should take the wheel. We should take the wheel, right? Top. Especially if I'm just going to suspend the Ancestral here. Well, I don't really want to suspend the Ancestral since we know we're going to make it to the As Foretold. Right? Yeah, but we can't know that, Kami. Oh, well, now we're screwed. I should have suspended it. There goes the As Foretold. So now I will wish that I had suspended that. But I wasn't anticipating an Inquisition of Kozilek, so shame on me. Also, this is a tapped Sulphur Falls. So what we can do is just give up the wheel, because we don't want the wheel anymore now as it stands. So we'll go ahead and suspend this, hope for the best. I mean, he's not pressuring us, so, well, that's a problem. Now, we won't make him any zombies, though, so he'll have to kill us a different way. But if it's anything like a list I saw him playing the other day, you can go ahead and exhaustion him. I don't really want him to untap and do things with the Waste Not. Or at least make it harder for him to do so. So what are our best draws there? Suspend another one. I'm not going to suspend the wheel. That would be a bad choice with the Waste Not. I may just not be able to cast this game because of the Waste Not. So those will have to come out from us. Too much synergy with the opponent. This might just be a big ol' Avatar. Yep. I know you're sitting there like, BrewSpy, why is this guy playing Demigod? Because Demigod's kind of sweet. I mean, we'll be dead before these Ancestrals go off, right? Potentially. Actually, this one might go off before that kills us. Yes! Alright. I'm into this. That buying us more time to get this Ancestral off is huge. I would agree with that. It's a strong card. Shoot. We were close to time warping into time warping into time warping into. We can start next turn. Patience. We really don't want to cast the wheel. We really don't want to do that. Arclight. Okay. We got some cool stuff going on in there. So this is a big chunk of our life. We can't afford to take any more hits. So we're going to kind of have to go off from here. I think that we could do it. I mean, even an exhaustion might be good enough. But I'd rather not exhaustion. I'd rather just try to go for it. So why don't we start time warping? Well, yeah. I mean, that's hard to say. Actually, maybe we should just... We're at 5. 1 potential 2 mana. You know what? We'll go for the exhaustion. Like, we'll have a lot more choices next turn. We have an Ancestral that's coming off. He shouldn't be able to do too much with this turn, if anything. Okay, he just passes it back. Okay. So let's see what this Ancestral brings. A Dominance. Okay. Bunch of Dominances. We really don't want to Dominance the wheel, obviously, because the Waste Not. So that's going to be a little bit of a problem. I also don't want to put us dead to some bolts, so it's like how much more fetching do I really want to do is something I'm thinking about. Wonder if I'd ever be absent-minded enough to accidentally click my opponent with the Time Warp. In the long run, yes, it's about mana efficiency, which are little things that I'm sure if you play a lot of the turns deck, you start to develop. Like, you usually, I imagine, want to cast the more expensive Time Walk. Cryptic is essentially another Time Walk here for us. Wheel, we don't really want to do that. I mean, we could Electrodominance into the Cryptic, which is kind of sweet. There are cool things we could do. Like, we could even Electrodominance the Time Warp. And then at least we're getting our damage in and using the mana. Actually, I think that's correct. To just dome them for 5 and also get our extra turn. Yeah, I think I am supposed to do that. Red, red, blue, 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 blue. We want to do it during our turn, though. I know we could instant speed the Time Warp, and that's kind of cool to think about. But we want to take the extra turn. So we're dealing 5 to the opponent for 2 measly extra mana. I mean, come on, that shouldn't be underrated in a taking turns deck to actually let your enablers also kill your opponent for you. I mean, in here we could Dominance the Cryptic for a lot of damage. Alright, we'll kick it back. I'm scared. I'm scared that we might be dead, but we kind of ran out of gas because we couldn't cast the wheels due to the waste. I mean, theoretically, I could have. Oops, we need to tap some red in there, obviously. So we're going to Dominance for 6 and Cryptic. Tap draw. Exactly, he would draw tons of cards. I mean, we can't really even this Days Undoing. Or no, this doesn't trigger the Waste Not. You're just gonna bolt me? Okay. So that we get to keep going. Days Undoing means we do get to keep going. Theoretically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. 8 mana's good, because we could hit, like, Cryptic, Exhaustion. Although we're dead to another Demigod if he has enough mana to cast it. So, I am at 4. Appreciate you guys tuning in for this janky deck, and I appreciate you coming here for my birthday stream. So, thanks, guys. Any card I discard there draws him a card with the Waste Not in that case. Liliana's Caress. Ooh, baby. Alright, so... I mean, he may or may not have Bolt. I don't think he had Bolt in the list. I can't remember. So we kind of want the land drop. We want it to happen before we redraw. We also don't have to take that risk, and odds are we will hit a land on this Days Undoing. Pretty sure that's what I'm doing, right? So with 5 mana left over, let's go for it. There's a lot of relevant hits. I tuned in for the janky deck. Oh man, he did have a Bolt. He does have Bolt, so we might just be dead here, chat. I would imagine this is also kind of a poor matchup for us, though, because we have... Oh yeah, I forgot to pass this to your opponent, so it would have had to have been Cryptic. Nah, we were dead. Like, it's funny. So, okay, so round 1. I'm not trying to be salty about it. I hope you guys find it as funny as I do, because we're in the competitive Modern League, yet we played against a Chalice deck, and now we're playing against a deck that we literally can't cast our wheels, probably. It would probably make us lose. That's just funny to me. I hope you guys don't take that as me being salt. I think it's kind of funny in a way. Alright, let's get those in the deck. It is kind of funny. Not like, it's a little bit of haha funny, but also like funny like, I paid 12 tickets because I wanted to be in the comp league because I wanted to troll other competitive decks, and we're just getting trolled by other fun decks. Which is fine. So this league has become a battle of the fun decks instead of us getting to troll competitive decks, so... It's not exactly what I expected. Is there anything else that's good? They do have quite a bit of non-creature stuff, so like the Spell Pierces could be good. The Thing in the Ices could be good. Explosives actually does remove Waste Not. Forgot to tell you, me and a friend have made a rechargeable 11-inch screen. I mean, that's kind of cool. It's always nice to invent things. It's kind of random, but I can dig it. I mean, now we get to see the test of does the deck, just like we found that the deck didn't really work in the presence of a bunch of Chalices of the Void, does the deck work if we really can't be playing our Wheel of Fates? Can it just function on the Ancestrals? Let's find out on this episode of BrewSpytheMagicGuy. Well, I'm glad you guys are here. I appreciate you guys tuning in. What's the last card I'm supposed to play? The Abrade? I guess the Explosives. This does also... The Engineered Explosives does clear out all the zombie tokens that they are trying to make. Or it just takes out the Waste Not itself. So, I think those are multiple reasons for that card. Oh, man, another one-lander? Oh, okay, well, it's got a Spirit Guide, but I still don't think I'd keep this. Not in the slightest. This one's even worse. Oh, baby. Alright. Well. Top. Can't lose. We're good, chat. We can make land drops. You have to be aware that low land decks, just because Moto is a computer-generated, algorithm for shuffling, human shuffling's not perfect, so you'll notice that in paper you don't get as screwed in my opinion when it comes to um, low land decks. So, like, I know people who play, Legacy Delver, and granted, it's subjective, right? Like, shouldn't the shuffling be the same? Who are you to say that, BrewSpy? But maybe that's my own bias, right? Because, like, when I play Legacy against, people playing Legacy Delver variants, it seems like, they're always able to get there even off of so few lands. But that's also just the power of Brainstorm and Ponder. Think we're just gonna say go, hope for another Spirit Guide or a land. And the problem with this build of like a taking turns list is that without all of the different elements that the typical taking turns decks would run that allow you to sorry, I'm thinking. Kind of allow you to leverage the we'll dump the Mastery, draws him a card. He's probably going to dump our hand here. I would use the Raven's Crime to, like, destroy our hand. Land. No, it was a Dominance. That's unfortunate. I might just want to cast this Spirit Guy. As bad as it seems, he's probably going to Raven's Crime us once or twice next turn. Might even be correct to consider hard casting the Spirit Guide. Because if what I'm going to do is just, if he destroys our hand, if my plan is to just, well, it seems bad too. I'm kind of hoping that's not what happens. I kind of hope that, I mean, we could always just Dominance just to zap him, and then if he is making us discard some cards, worst case, we only let him draw one off of the Warp. But yeah, I mean, having the 2/2 in play would probably be better than us just dealing 2 damage with the Electrodominance. Another Waste Not. Okay. Oh boy. Alright. Well, I think we've lost. I think we've met our match opponent, or chat. But you did get to see a really sweet Waste Not deck. Oh man. Oh boy. Well, see, the problem though, if I exile the Spirit Guide, my thought is then that means we're gonna have fewer cards in hand though after the Burning Inquiry. Or excuse me, that would actually just be for. That would just improve the odds. You're right. I should have dumped the Spirit Guide. Good point. Good. Definitely good thought there. I didn't think about it in time. I mean, if we're not taking the extra turns now, I just don't see a world where he's not going off with multiple of his engine. Like, the deck is designed to win from this point, so I'd be very surprised if he didn't win here. Oh yeah, for sure, Kami. I mean, this has always been a learning stream. That was actually why I started it all those years ago originally. It was to become a better Magic player. So let's go ahead and Dominance here for 0, just so that we don't draw him cards, and so that we trigger our Thing in the Ice. I mean, the Thing in the Ice could be a real thing if we hit some more cantrips. Like if we, let's say, Serum Visions into, but that's a lot of damage to take. So we may not get to that point. Well, that's a start. Oops. That is like best draw, one of the best draws possible. And then a Jace. Alright, I'm into this. Didn't hit the land drop, but we have an exhaustion coming up. I guess you would keep the Spirit Guide in hand because if he tries to go after making us discard something to trigger his Waste Knots, at least we can just exile this. So let's go top. Top. But here's where he could just like wombo off. Okay, so he bolts me. Or his hand's just a bunch of bolts. Okay. Well, we died. We died. Good games. That's so funny. Like, we sign up to play in the comp, in the competitive league, and then we get trolled by other troll decks just like ours. Playing some Halo 2. So when you say it's a screen, like, what are you hooking it up to? Like your computer or laptop? Yeah, so we lost to like a Goblin's Chalice thing, and I'm not trying to justify my my little janky deck here. That's not the purpose of why I'm talking about the decks. But I just think it's definitely not the. I mean, that's the beauty of Modern. Play what you want, do what you want to do. Players that are gonna try to say, oh, but shouldn't you play from this list of decks? It's like, no, I think Modern's open right now to some extent. I think you have to respect the players, like the main decks that people are leaning on, but that doesn't mean you have to play one of those lists. And I think I trust me, I'm never upset when I see a bunch of decks that have a very, very low representation in the format, like less than 1%. That's always fun. You know, the deck we're playing also has less than 1% representation. You know, the old homebrew. But it wasn't like a mono red prison though. It was like a Goblin's hybrid thing. Are you sure it was like a mono red prison? Fluffy Wolf would know more if that's actually what it was. It didn't look like a build that I'd seen. Maybe they just wanted to be more proactive. We did see bridge and stuff game 1. Maybe it was just a more proactive mono red prison thing that I'm used to seeing. We actually could miracle this if we don't cast the visions. I mean, is that even better though than just doing our land drops normally? Right, and then we'd have to spend the Spirit Guide to do it. Well, let's think about this. So if we leave that on top and we go land drop, say go. Next turn, spend the Spirit Guide to cast the Mastery. I guess that's not any better, is it? No, if we hit land, it is. Technically, it is better if we hit land. I'm going to top it. It's janky, but I like it. Style points, kind of just like a glorified Explorer, to be perfectly honest. As long as it's HDMI compatible. Well, there you go. But I hope you guys are doing okay. And then the opponent inquisitions my Simeon. Oh, they're playing Tesserator or something. I love it. Yeah, no more Cork Clan Ironworks. Oh, he's just playing Lantern. Alright. Alrighty then. Pixis, you're going to take away my Temporal Mastery. Oh, dang it. But then he loses the Thoughtseize, so maybe I'm okay with this. Oh, this seems like a rough matchup for us, too. Oh, boy. I wonder how good Lantern is right now, come to think of it. I haven't seen it in quite a bit. It's a miracle. deep mind demonstration? What, like AI? Like some AI kind of stuff, Melfina? Oh, actually, this is Lantern. I should definitely shock myself so we have red for our stuffs. We want lands, so we're going to bottom. Yep, speaking of dominance. Easily one of the hardest cards in our deck to cast because we're not running that much red. We added some more red mana sources, though. But... That is interesting, Melfina. Alright, so we can... Unless he Pixis the Miko. Which he might. Opponent might Pixis here, because I definitely want to make those land drops. Don't think there's a world where he would let us have. Sean McLaurin with the host for 135. You guys don't know Sean on my show. He likes to play all sorts of wonderful, interesting things. I've tuned into his stream quite a few times. Thanks for the host, Sean. From one Sean to another, my name actually is Sean as well. We're just jamming out with some blue-red turns. List looks like this. It's kind of janky. I can't take credit for it, though, because it's basically a tweaked version of what Truckus was playing the other day, and he went 4-2. This would have been 2017, though, and so that was even before Jace, I believe, was modern legal. I don't remember seeing Jace in his list, so I added that. Some Electrodominances, tweaked some other small, minor things. We're up against Lantern Control, though, so this is kind of like watching paint dry. So we're blue-red turns playing against Lantern. So, yeah. Kind of a thing. But yeah, I seriously appreciate the host. That's definitely generous. Yeah, I don't know how we win this match. Definitely want to, I mean, if I exhaustion here, it's laughable. We'll kick it back. Now, he only has one lock piece. He only has one, he just has the Pixis. So, it's not completely lost. We could even Mikokoro during his end step. We don't actually want that Electrodominance. But yeah, if you like watching Sean's content from my show, anybody in my watching here that hasn't followed Sean McLaurin, I think that's crazy. That's fine, he just gets the exhaustion. It's bad in this matchup anyway. Crazy to think that you might not have already known about his existence or followed him. And then, of course, people from Sean's stream, I do brew a lot of weird jank. I do quite a bit of legacy and vintage as well. A little bit of pauper, if that's anything you guys are interested in. I mean, he's not going to let us draw what we want to, obviously. Right? Maybe we should just take the Electrodominance. Could also fake him out where he's like, oh, you want that. It's like, not really. Well, he wants Whir, so he's not going to Pixis anymore. Yes, Mikoing in response to things is a good idea. Cryptic's not even that great in the matchup. He might still try to get rid of this, though. Like, what he can do is he can wait till he draws the Whir, and then he can Pixis before I draw the Cryptic. Well, no, I'm about to draw the Cryptic, though, so... We'll draw the Cryptic before... Okay, so he's going to give up the Whir to... I think that's a fine exchange. Now we get an Ancestral out of it. I'm okay with this. I think we want to do it now. Right, ooh, red. I think we do want to do it now. I think. Alright, well, we already have our land drop. why would I want to do it during my opponent's turn? No, we could hit like an As Foretold. There's a lot of reasons to do this proactively. So let's Dominance for 0. There's a wheel. We don't have red though, which is kind of an issue with running some colorless lands. I have thought about that issue before. Yes, hand is Stirrings and one unknown now. Top cards were. Okay, so there's another exhaustion. Terrible in the matchup, but what are you gonna do? Wheeling. Yeah, wheeling Lantern doesn't feel good either, but we kind of don't have a lot going on. Really don't want him to have that card. There's not much I can do about that fact. Right? It might just be correct for me to use this proactively. It draws him into the war though, but now granted it might have hit us a cryptic and then we'd be able to counter it immediately. So we can time warp here. I think that we definitely want to do that. I think that's an easy decision. Oh, thanks, Ike. Yeah, if you guys watching my show haven't followed Sean McLaurin just yet, definitely give him a follow. He plays a lot of different interesting brews. Typically, what I've noticed likes to specialize in Blue X or Jeskai sorts of brews. Sean, have you decided to... I actually thought about maybe putting Electrodominance... You've probably already thought about it, but I thought about maybe doing something with Dominance in like a Jeskai shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We could Mastery. And we have an Ancestral coming up. Well, this doesn't quite do enough either, though. Like, it's close. It still doesn't quite do much. Gosh, these can be so bad in certain matchups. Well, wait, I could Miko into the Time Warp. So let's play the fetch land first. He should Pixis here. Decided not to Pixis. Okay. Oh, we still had lands, thank goodness. I was like, I'm pretty sure we still have some lands. I mean, maybe he just figures he'll, whenever I do find like a win condition, he'll just... That's fair. That's reasonable. Probably should have suspended the Ancestral. Oh no, we didn't have enough mana too. Let's see, Dominance. There's one more Dominance in the deck and 2 As Foretold. Should I just suspend the Ancestral? I think the answer is yes. We'll leave open the Miko. Actually, I think we should just use it. There's a Witchbane Orb. Okay. Spirit Guide for us. That's not good. Do we kick it back here? I mean, I'm really surprised he's not using the Pixis at all. But we don't want to hit the Spirit Guide. So we've got an Ancestral with 3. Leave that for you guys to see. You're welcome to Thoughtseize me, opponent. Or Inquisition me. Absolutely. So we do know that his hand is a whir. Like, he's got a lot of gas over there. We kind of didn't hit a very juicy Wheel of Fate, unfortunately. We got plenty of mana, but other than that, didn't really pan out. So be very easy for the opponent to whir into the main deck Pithing Needle. I know there's a lot going on the screen, so let me kind of try to clean this up a little bit for you guys. We can actually just get rid of that chat. He's not going to talk to us. He's playing Lantern. Is that just like indicative of all players that play Lantern on Moto? They're not going to use their chat whatsoever. It's because they don't have time. Like, you gotta play the deck very precise and quick. I have a dear friend named Chris who plays Lantern and Paper, and he enjoys it. He has a great time. But he's also like a good conversationalist. He's just a nice guy, so it's like on one hand, some people get salty about the archetype he's playing, but it's hard to be mad at the man because he's a sweet guy. On the other hand, so we could try to Miko into the Astrotold. I imagine the opponent will not let us. Like, I imagine he would finally Pixis there. Okay, so he Pixis. I will try to grab it. He could Lantern us. Alright, cool. It was still an Astrotold, though. Which is always frustrating to the opponent. That it was still an Astrotold even though he shuffled us. That's funny. He didn't use it on himself, did he? Actually, he might have used it on... No, I remember it targeting our player panel, though. Now, the thing about this Jace is opponent can obviously just whir into a Pithing Needle. I mean, it seems like it didn't do anything. I imagine if I cast Jace, he's just like, Needle. Wow, he did not whir for Needle. Okay. We're pretty sure he has a whir of Invention in hand, right? Like, I'm almost positive that's... I'll just leave that over there so you guys know. I'm almost positive that's the case. Put back these bad exhaustions. Although I guess if I don't have a fetch land, so we're gonna redraw through them. But we can kind of power through those, right? If we Astrotold into Ancestral. I feel like I would fire off grabbing Pithing Needle if I was him, but doesn't mean it's necessarily a misplay. Maybe he has something else he wants to do with the word that we're not thinking of. Honestly, should you just keep up Cryptic mana? We should have, probably. That's fair. Because you're right, I do not currently have Cryptic mana. I think you're right. I think we could have tapped differently. So he lets us use the Jace, even though he could have whirred. We do have other Planeswalkers in the deck, right? Or we at least have Chandra. Like, we have some other ways we could win. So again, I'm not saying that he made a misplay. If anything, like, sure, he gave us the window, but we did draw into the Cryptic after, like, with the Jace Brainstorm. We should have been thinking, well, if we can just make sure. I mean, granted, there's always the possibility to bounce the Needle if we start taking some extra turns. It's not a bad thing. We also, exhaustioning at this point actually is a reasonable amount of... It's not quite a time walk, obviously, because the Mox Opal will untap, but it's a reasonable amount of... Does a little bit. I do have the list, Brandio. Type !deck list. Should give you Stream Decker. It's also right here for your eyeballs. Here you go. And cut him off 3 mana sources. Four mana sources. It's something. Like, he can't, like, windmill slam like a Tezzeret after that. They typically have the Tezzeret in the sideboard, though. That being said. But yeah, seriously, appreciate the host. I'm not sure how many folks from Sean McLaurin's stream are still here, but I really do appreciate it. I appreciate you, Brandio. It is definitely a fun list. And it is a bit of a birthday stream, so I turned 28. I should have mentioned that when Sean hosted, but so I turned 28 this past Wednesday, so this is kind of like a catch-up birthday stream kind of thing. So yeah, we have a good time here, seriously, or at least I do. So hopefully, that's kind of the thing I've noticed though. Like when you have a streamer that's having a good time, it tends to bleed over into the viewers, hopefully. So, but. Now, I know not everybody's going to like my style, because I like to build decks, and I like to build them from scratch, and sometimes I'll build them on stream, and for some folks, that's not fast-paced enough entertainment. 28 in 2 days. Aw, yeah. I should have been F6 throughout that entire... Well, I don't know why it wasn't F6. That's foolish. Is this Ancestral finally getting cast? Nope. Maybe I shouldn't have suspended it because we found an Aspertold. But it's hard to know these things. Exhaustion again looks tempting because it does turn him off quite a bit, doesn't it? I think I just want to hard cast Spirit Guides. Another needle. That is annoying. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, maybe I do just cast these. Because he hasn't prioritized, excuse me, Bridge. But, I mean, it'd be relatively easy for him to get his hands on one if he wanted it, I imagine. Is he going to take the Pithing Needle? Takes a Codex Shredder. Yep, there's the Shredder. I mean, if we're aiming to hit some extra turns, like, this would be a spot where I actually would consider returning the needle. Right, that's another thing to think about. Jace is online. Well, yeah, we have lots of ways to keep his hand full. That's true. Like, we could wheel during our turn, and then that turns on attacks for the Spirit Guides. That's a good point. I think actually that's what I should have been doing, is just getting some of these guys on the table. Because we do. I mean, I can even make him draw cards with the Ancestral. I know, as crazy as that sounds. Yes, it does. And we only have so many ways to reshuffle the deck. I think the build that we ended up going with only had one, right? One of the reshuffle cards, excuse me. Now, since we're drawing our cards in chunks, it's difficult for the opponent to filter our draws. Like, if you're drawing multiple cards at a time in Modern, it is difficult for the opponent to... There we go, finally, some See, I like the idea of getting the Spirit Guides on the table. I like the idea of Chandra. I like a lot of these ideas, but we can only do so many of them. So hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we could... Well, let's lead on Chandra. That's easy. She'll generate more mana so we can make more plays if we want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That would be Time Warp and one of the Spirit Guides. I think that's the way we need to start thinking. Only 7 cards left in the deck. Do we really want an Ancestral here? I don't think so. Right? We also know what we're drawing. Oh yeah, we're doing the things. I mean, I imagine it's hard for Lantern to fully control something like turns. I would imagine that's a bit of a, not a matchup that they really want to have. You know, if I was in their shoes. Granted, we thought that about the last 2 matchups we had. We're like, oh, well, we'll be fine. Then we lost. Yes, we could blast them with a Dominance. That's very true. Let's attack first. Put them to 15. Yeah, I mean, a big Dominance would do it. If we Jaced and then Ancestraled, we would draw the last, the thing that reshuffles our deck. So I think he's just hoping that we deck ourselves, which it's not going to happen. So Libraries of Mastery. We should put these back. Or at least maybe I don't perceive. I mean, I don't think we... Yeah, it's still in the deck. Our reshuffle effect. So I'm pretty sure we're good to go. I don't think I've made a mistake. But, I mean, this is the kind of deck where it's like you kind of have to get in a lot of reps with it before you start noticing whether what you're doing is a mistake or not at all. It's kind of hard to say at this juncture, to be honest. I think we got it too, but we just need to close quickly because now our clock's above their clock. So we're going to get an extra turn next turn. We could even just... I guess that is the last card in our deck. Weird. Hey, what's up, Bar Trap? I guess it was the Days Undoing. It was the last card. It's funny how that happens. Chandra Emblem will also kill him very quickly. So we're kind of like... I mean, that's something a Lantern player will have the patience to do, especially if they don't know exactly what we're up to. Like, they'll have the patience to sit there and let us kill them. They get to see a variety of our win conditions. And they did basically see all of them except for, like, the thing in the ices. Hey, what's up, Jero? How's it going? Did basically see all my win cons. We did basically show all the different win conditions. Sometimes it's fun to just cast a really big fireball, guys. It's the small things in life, whilst triggering a Chandra or emblem effect. Like killing people with Simian Spirit Guides is definitely... I don't have to. Alright. Appreciate that. Yeah, appreciate it, guys. So how the heck do we board for Lantern? Explosives has a reasonable amount of targets, even if it's only for X's too. Braids are great. Spell Pierce is kind of hit or miss. They're not as susceptible to Blood Moon as you might like, and a lot of that has to do with their playset of Mox Opal. But it's a thought. Not really a Giga Drowse match. If we want more win conditions, you could run the things. He'll probably slim on bridges. Play Relic. You like Relic? Now, what is weak? Exhaustions are laughably weak. These are very weak in the matchup. They're typically weak if they're not creatures to also tap down, if it's just the tap the lands effect. Unless it's like, I don't know, Escape Shift or something of that nature. But especially against something like Lantern where some of their mana, sources are not lands. It's like something like this. I mean, the game's going to go long. How many Spirit Guides do we really want? Granted, we did get beat down with those, but I don't really want to cut anything else. I mean, if the game's going to go long, then things like, I'm less interested in things like Visions or Serum Visions. Granted, it smooths things out in the beginning, but towards the end, it's a little on the weak side. It just depends on what you value in this matchup. I kind of like all my cards to be very significant and not just kind of cycle through the deck, so I'll make weird decisions like that when it comes to something like Lantern. So maybe we look like this. I think the Relic is a fine idea. Especially if, like, the game's going long, like we Relic away their graveyard, and then we Daze Undoing, and then they have fewer cards left in the deck, and this and that. Oh yeah, I mean, Spirit Guide is legacy playable. Card's pretty bonkers. Maybe should not be in Modern. Debatable. Debatable. Sorry to eat on stream, guys. Ooh. Piece of candy. This is some legacy stuff right here. We could Spell Pierce this turn 1 Thoughtseize if we want to. Card's kind of important to your strategy. But maybe that's aggressive on my part. I think I just did it because it's sweet. Not even necessarily because it was a good play. I think I just did that because it was sweet. Sometimes you have to do the sweet play, not necessarily the good play. Granted, our league life is, oh wow, hang on, we could do this before he like considers Thoughtseizing me. It's kind of juicy. Deck is named after the card must counter. Yeah, right. Doing the things. Doing so many of the things. Here we go. Doing the things. We're doing it, guys. Doing the things. Like, our deck does things. Opponent's deck is trying to not do things. Well, Lantern's trying to not to do. Yeah, it's confusing. I know. Let's not try to explain Lantern right now at the moment. But yes, this is one of their main win conditions. Game 1. Besides milling you out, they will blast you to death. It's a wonderful, wonderful deck. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to die. So we could wheel. Opponents on 1 card, though, kind of don't want to do that until we're already going off. Just putting that out there. I think that would be a mistake. And that happens. I've noticed that with the Wheel of Fate in particular. I must have Jeskai in the mind. I tapped for Jeskai mana just there. That's kind of a thing, is if their hand gets played up very quickly, this is a weak card. And I could see it being quite weak in the Lantern matchup due to that fact. That was a soul read. Interesting. Codex shredding himself. But, I mean, that's still the correct play, especially since he has a Shredder. Shredder's second ability is relevant in Lantern, being able to return a card from the graveyard. So a lot of the time they'll shred themselves. They'll to try to find the pieces and then try to get them back. And well, of course you find one anyway. Ooh, Braid's good. Oh yeah, exactly. Like, I Can't imagine he lets me have the Abrade, yeah. He may also go after this because this allows me to not worry about getting milled out. But we're doing okay on time as long as I remember that I have an F6 key. I do want to be able to counter the whir. So maybe I'll do some Wing, right? Yeah, actually it's 2. W is my fast mana key. 2 is pass until I could do something. So it looks like we're doing a little bit of F6 the Gathering. Which favors my opponent, unfortunately. Gonna put that back in my deck. Let's let the Chandra go, I suppose. Like, I really don't want to wheel, but if we wheel, it coaxes him into potentially playing the... he can't even cast it, though. I think I'm too in my head. Like, we really should just be doing the wheel and doing the things. Although we did lose the day's undoing, so we'll have to win with what we have. Third wheel is definitely a dead draw, but what are you going to do? He can't cast this anytime soon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can Mastery. I mean, Leyline does turn off my Jace ultimate, which is kind of what I'm trying to do. I mean, if we can just win this and not worry about the clock game, so to speak, that would be nice. He did just draw 7, correct. So we don't know exactly what the hand is like. Actually, it might not be a whir at all anymore. That's very true. That is very, very true. I kind of want to draw into this Ancestral, though, that being said. Don't necessarily want to redraw those. I mean, we're kind of going for it at this point, so I got 8 minutes to try to steal this. Or not steal it, just win it. Working on it, chat. Working on it. Working it, working it. Let's see what I can do. Could just cast this, but then we don't have the Simian Spirit Guide to beat down with. We can cast that with a Foretold. So let's get Ape. Let us Ape. I do like that these double as like direct damage. That's actually really sweet. Only 23 cards left in the deck, so let's keep that in mind. I mean, maybe I should just be Jace sealing. You know? Instead of drawing tons and tons. Something to think about. many days do I have on the list? Unfortunately, we're only playing the one. I think Truckus' original list had two. I'm only playing the one. Just that's a thing. That is indeed a thing. I don't think I'm supposed to Ancestral, am I? Alright, opponent's had enough. Okay, well, we can beat Lantern. I think he could have won that if he really wanted to, though. He was being generous. Granted, I mean, like round one we ran into Chalice of the Void deck, and then that was round one. Round two we ran into what was it? I can't even remember now. Oh, it was the Waste Knot deck, which was really sweet. So let's just finish this league tonight. Birthday stream. Yeah, it's almost midnight. Let's just go ahead and finish this, and then I can hit the hay. No savor the moment. Whoa, 14-month subscription. That's so many days. Nick, and it's a tier 3 sub, just so you guys understand. Nick, Lil Corin, the man, thank you so much for that very generous subscription. Tier 3 sub hype. It's not just a sub. These days, I'm sub to my teammates with, if you guys didn't know, I have a little stream network set up. Thank you so much. Called MDH. So if you ever watch Everos or you've ever seen Fluffy Wolf, I'm building a little stream network with those guys. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, things are good. I just celebrated my 20th birthday earlier this week, Wednesday, the 23rd. Thought those were just legends. What were legends? What are you talking about? Or on Twitch, did I miss? Did you say something else? Oh, you're talking about Evan. Okay, and Fluffy. I'm with you. I'm with you now. You were making the joke. He make the joke. Okay. I appreciate you being patient with me. Okay. You know what? This actually looks like a hand. We will give it a shot. Oh, yes, they do exist. I have enough pictures that were very generously done for me by Shade of Hades. Shade of Hades is one of my subs. He lives in Australia. I haven't seen him in a bit, but granted, I haven't been streaming that time zone lately, just due to my work. And work is work. Work is indeed, it is what it is. Alright, so we can end step the Ancestral, which is kind of neat, off of the Electrodominance, if we really want to. See, that's the thing about this card, is it almost makes me want to play like a more reactive deck. Like, I've seen some people doing like some Living End decks. There was a Living End Electrodominance with like the Kiki combo you were telling me about, Lil Coron. Nick, you picked up on that. It's really cool. That I think definitely enjoys the instant speed nature of this card. And the reason being is has everything to do with how I still think the end step Ancestral is correct. Yeah, we'll do that because it's just so super cool. It is kind of cool. And I just kind of default to targeting my opponent. Target me. Exhaustion's not all that good here, obviously. I think it's just play Miko Foretold. Go. But yes, theoretically, that's gonna hurt. I'm actually at much lower of a life total than I thought. But yeah, I mean, theoretically, Exhaustion, best case scenario, is almost essentially a full-time walk. Minus the draw part. I mean, well, no, it is, because they essentially lose their turn, depending on the board state. That's the problem with it. It is strong. It's dependent a little bit on the board state, though. Like, how many of their lands did they tap last turn? Now, in Modern, a lot of decks are designed to be very linear and efficient, and they will be tapping out most turns. The only reason a deck wouldn't be is because, okay, so like, for example, if we exhaustioned here, we're only taking the hit from the Gurmag Angler. So it's almost as good. It's almost as good. If we want to cast this Cryptic, we do need to drop that. Alright, so do exhaustion you. It's almost a time walk there. If he has land drop, he might still have a play. I think he's just going to hit us with the Gurmag. Now, if he does that, then the next exhaustion also is good because that denotes that he didn't have land drop number 4. Okay, he did have land drop 4, but it's a black cleave. Sweet. So we can kind of capitalize on that in the weird way that only our kind of taking turns style of deck can. This second exhaustion is also very good. We don't have to get fancy. We don't have to use the time warp yet. If we had enough mana, we could also activate the Miko. So let's exhaustion. Pass it back. But yeah, like when the exhaustion works, typically you want to use it. It's kind of the rule of thumb there. Okay, if we can get another Astrotold going, that would be ideal. So let's do that. And now we could sit back on the Cryptic. I kind of would rather just warp here, though. But that is something to think about that we could do in this situation. Take an extra turn. Wheel is also something that's very bad against Hollow One. Something else to think about. It is quite bad. We might just want to sit on the Cryptic and say go, and then maybe end step we Miko. I mean, if we wheel, could we really keep going? Yes and no. There's a chance I have another play that's powerful. I don't think that's the right play, though. I think we want to use the Cryptic. Oh, we're opening the floodgates to double bolt. Could be a thing. Yeah, double bolt could definitely kill us here. Little does the opponent know they're just making themselves lower and lower to be killed with a so we do need to wait for those to come into play before we tap with the Cryptic. Yeah, so we get priority here. Tap draw. There's a warp. There we go. And what's nice is we can cast it off of the Astrotold. Let me guess, bolt me. This Miko, because we're not looking to share anymore. Alright, so we'll both draw. Hey, what's up, Goblin Guy? Has been a little bit. Yeah, I've been busy with work, unfortunately. But I'm here. It's good to see you. Don't really want to go into bolt range. But then again, that would enable us to cast the Temporal Mastery, and that's going to be more mana efficient for us in the long haul. Are we ever giving the turn? Are we passing the turn back to our opponent ever for the rest of this game? Or are we going to be able to chain these all together? Right? Something to think about. If we think that we can, this is a mana efficient opportunity to use the Mastery. Now these can start getting cast, though, off of the Time Warp. But let's go with the mana efficient option. I mean, you can stack time, like extra turns. Like we could, they do stack. We could Time Warp right here. They do stack. Yeah, I hope we're never passing the turn back. Indeed. That is the hope. You can just Miko Core, Time Warp, see if you draw an on-fetch, though. That's a reasonable point. Oh no, we're all in. now we're even dead to Collective Brutality. Well, we have one extra turn lined up. Why don't we go ahead and draw this? Another wheel. Like, I don't think I want a wheel. Right? So no extra turns floating. Well, that's not good. Are we just dead? Maybe. Yeah, I think we're just toast. Well, okay, hold up. So, bottom. Jace. Dominance. Yeah, I guess we needed like another time walk effect. Don't you have another turn lined up though, says Bark? Oh yeah, we do have one turn floating, good point. Well, we still need to make something happen here. I can't just not keep going. Oh, we already had a land drop. Unfortunate. Well, I mean, they're so low. He's got a blocker, though. The Adept. We can't, like, cast Simian Spirit Guide Swing, toast him with Electrodominance. It's not that simple. Let's take the Miko draw, because that's free. Another Dominance. Bottom. Actually, I should keep the fetch land. Bounce the Adept, go for the guy beatdown line. Oh yeah, we could have used Jace that way. Truth. True. Okay, so he's at 9. Land drop. -2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage. It is lethal. Yeah, he's dead. Cool. I like that this card gives us reach. It just feels really satisfying, and then we're going to draw 3 cards because we can. Alright, that's sweet. Oh yeah, I think that turn or the turn before that I did not play it great, but Anger's pretty good in this matchup. I mean, Thing in the Ice might even be acceptable. Block some of their early attackers and then can return like Gurmag Anglers and whatnot. No, that was sweet. I don't think this is the Jace the Mind Sculptor matchup. I mean, the best case scenario, he can return Hollow Ones or he can return Gurmag Anglers. I mean, is this even a Chandra matchup? See, that's the thing. Like, I feel like I still want to run some number of Jace. We did just fireball that guy. Basic math kills for the win. Basic. Such a basic math kill. Bouncing Gurmag seems so good, though. Okay. Well, we definitely want our graveyard hate. That's an easy one. Oh, Wheel of Fate's really bad in this matchup, isn't it? Especially when they're on the play. That's got to be really bad in the matchup. Cut 2 wheels. Maybe more than that. What does a Braid kill? Hollow One. So this kills half of their threats. Kills either Hollow One or it kills Flame Blade. Blah, 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 blah. Flame Blade. You'd still run some? Whereas Anger clears out Phoenix, Flame Blade, and Bloodghast, which is nice. I don't think I'd run Pyroclasm. It only kills Flame Blade. I mean, it technically kills Phoenix, but Phoenix just comes right back. Honestly, you lost that last game with no wheel, though? Okay. Well, how many, though? I'm with you, I just don't know what I'm cutting. This is tough. We could do what we did last time, which was shave some serum visions. Some number of serum. I just cut all of them just now, because I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I want to board! I don't know! Submit! Hope we don't get land screwed. Gosh, I really don't like cutting the serums, because then we're relying a little bit harder on naturally hitting the land drops. So this hand does have some natural land drops. It does have a wheel off of the dominance. It doesn't really have much else going for it. Well, I really don't like this in the matchup, but I also don't think beggars should be choosers when it comes to... This deck is so few lands. I don't think it should be a 20 land deck. I think that's very greedy. I think if I were to re-brew the list, I think it would definitely have a little bit more mana to it. And there goes our plan. Oops. And then there. Yep, that was an accident. I mean, it happens, but I think we just lost because I clicked the wrong button. Or I pushed the wrong button on the keyboard. I didn't click anything. I just did not. Well, opponent's giving us a fighting chance. It happens. It's the kind of things that only happen on Moto that just won't happen in paper. You just got to deal with it. We're giving him a fighting chance. No. So what's best case scenario? He doesn't find a land? I find that hard to believe. So we kill the Adept. We would be killing Adept this turn if we hadn't lost a turn. Don't do hotkeys. Yeah. That's just too bad. This could really have been a different game. Now there's 2 Adepts. Wow, and we miss out on another mastery. So we would have spiked. One of those masteries would have been ours. That's just really frustrating to think about. Oh man. Oh man. Also, wouldn't it have been a lower % chance that we lost the Delta off of the Burning Inquiry because we would have been in play? Something else to think about. I know I'm thinking about all these terrible, terrible things. It's better to think positive, but it's hard not to be a little frustrated with a little bit of Moto mishap. Kill that, still take 4. So we can dominance into land drop. Refilling my opponent's hand, dumping lots of our engine cards. Wow, this really is worst case. This is quickly turning into... Well, it just got a lot better for us though, chat. Hold on to your pants. We're going to play this thing in the ice. And then our hand is nothing. But we did win game 1, so yeah, we just sometimes you gotta give him a chance. Assassin's Trophy. Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely better than just dying. I mean, we could spike like a... There's always a chance to spike Anger of the Gods. Just not win, but buys a lot of time. He doesn't have something strong. He doesn't have mana here, so he can't get the Phoenixes back, even though the Adept was big enough. Obviously, we're going to take that free block. Ooh, a hollow one. Double hollow one. Hello. Well, it was nice knowing you guys. I think even if I play the Simian Spirit Guide, there is not a block that we live, right? Block and block. It's still dead. So even if we hadn't made that mistake, I think we were still losing that game. Or, excuse me, not a mistake. It was a slip of the finger, so to speak. I do feel like the deck is a lot less smooth without some number of serums. I don't think the wheel... I understand that we kind of want some of this whilst we're finally going off, but it's just so bad leading up to that. I mean, just because of how Hollow One works. I mean, maybe like from this section is where we should be cutting. Like all of this seems like I'm happy with it, but the maybe it's more so from here where we're supposed to cut the 4. Because I like Thing in the Ice in theory. I think the Abrades are fine and Anger to buy time. Obviously, Grafdigger's Cage and Relic. I think what we need to cut is actually maybe... And maybe the Exhaustion just doesn't do enough in a deck like this that doesn't have all the engines. What's up, Brandio? Maybe we still should be playing Chandra. So we're a little light on Woodcons. I mean, even with bringing in the Thing in the Ices, it's hard to say. I don't know. These are all things I'm thinking about. Cryptic is maybe not even that wonderful in the matchup. What about cutting the Cryptics? I don't think we want to cut any extra turn cards. That seems bad to do. I think the Exhaustions maybe aren't as good as I'm thinking that they are. Also, do we need this many Dominants if we're not going to run the full suite of wheels? Granted, these can toast like these do a reasonable job hitting the Madness guy, Flameblade. Yeah, that was not a good game for us, Barwick, at all. So maybe cut the Cryptics. Okay, with these so far. We didn't need Chandra last time. Maybe that's still correct. Cut. 2 more cuts. Maybe the Exhaustions. I'm not all that excited about them in this matchup. But maybe they are still really good. I mean, they are... In a creature-based matchup, this is like another Time Walk. In a non-creature-based matchup, it kind of depends on if they're Trim and Dominance. I can get behind that. So then we've got 5 enablers to 6 cards. Appreciate that raid, Fluffy. His creatures do have haste, truth, so maybe Exhaustion is the weak link here. Maybe we just want the Chandra. We're on the play this time, so I can see the Planeswalker being stronger. But we shall see. What if we turn this league around, right? That win against Lantern just gave us new life in this league. That would be sweet. I would love that. Sand's sweet. Theoretically, it's got... Well... So I would theoretically keep the Sand on the back of 2 land drops and the Relic. But, like, what else we see has to be relevant. I'll keep it, though. Relic is reasonable in the matchup. Only got 15 minutes, guys. Gotta go fast. Yes, that's why Ancestral stays, for sure. Exactly. When it's in the opening hand, you're right, it doesn't necessarily need any enabling. Whew. Fearsome. Oh, sweet draw, though. That is nice. That's why we brought it in. Sometimes you just gotta take out the hollow one. I mean, us shocking ourselves, we're still, you know, essentially healing for 1. And, I mean, it's not like we're removing that later down the line. Like, we could maybe, like, bounce it with a Jace. You could accidentally misclick on a break, because technically you can deal 3 damage to Hollow One. That's just not the mode that you want to do. So I imagine that happens to some people on Moto where they're like, no, wait, no! Bolt the 2-mana bolt on a Hollow One. That'd be kind of funny. Alright. Okay. Do we want to just crack the Relic here? I don't think so. I think we definitely want to wait till we see like a Bloodghast or a Phoenix. And like, I don't really want to get rid of this. Like, I'd like to just kind of keep picking at his graveyard for as long as I can. This could denote Gurmag Angler. I think I smell a Gurmag Angler. Alright, I'm just gonna make that not a thing this turn. Him, like, quickly going for the fetch there kind of made me think he has a Gurmag Angler in hand. Ooh, it was a Liliana, actually. Ooh. Okay. I still think I stand by that play, but... because it did kind of smell like a Gurmag Angler. Okay, so we can... land drop, suspend the Ancestral... just because we're running a little bit less enablers now, post-board, right? We cut a Dominance. Yeah. So we'll lose one of the Time Warps to the Lily, but we get to cast the other one. It's good to see you, Fluffy. Still think I'm supposed to make the land drop. In fact, I'm not going to fetch. So 5th land actually would be not bad here. Oh, I should fetch before I... well, so there's a Mastery, so we can bottom top. If we want to keep the Time Warp, we'd have to give it the Miko. Koro. Which might honestly be correct. I guess that's me saying maybe I value the Time Warp more than the Miko. That can't be right against a Lily. Well, I didn't make the land drop though, so I kind of have to live with that decision now. I don't think I liked my decision there. Yeah, appreciate the appreciate that. All right, Tazagur. So I was right, and I did kind of smell a Delph threat through the air vent, so to speak. We just want extra time for this Ancestral to go off, really. Problem is we don't have something else in play. Can be weak. Not as good as you would hope for it to be. Like, if we don't have something else going on. Again, that's kind of the role of, like, the Miko or the Planeswalkers, or the thing in the ices, is it gives us something else to have going on. Anyways, this Ancestral is going to go off here. Hopefully it gives us some gas. It only took us buying 2 extra turns to get it to go off. And then we drew very little. Oh boy. Really, deck? We have enough lands that I'm fine seeing a Serum Visions. Suspend. I don't really want a Talaria here. At least I don't think I do. Maybe we do. Well, no, we just scryed to the bottom. Sorry, we scryed. Another Seer Visions to the top. Yeah, Freddie Mercury, yeah. Hey, to each his own. Some people like the different art. Maybe it's wrong to let go of the Talaria West. This does represent an Ancestral or wheel. No, we did them on 2 separate turns, Kami. I was like extra turn, then take the extra turn, and then I did another extra turn, and oh geez. Well, 4 damage, we're dead. So we need to bottom top and hope to find an out. Yeah. I know, the deck's only a 20 lander. Well, it's got 4 Spirit Guides though, so you can make an argument that it's still 24 mana source. That doesn't have haste. Why hasn't he just Lily ulted at us? No, we lost. It's okay. Not worried about it. I mean, like, the Ancestral isn't going to go off in time, Barwick. We'll see him the trouble. Alright, one more game, and then I'm going to hit the hay. We did take a game. And we did play against, I mean, granted our deck's weird too. We did play against some weird matchups. That's not me being upset. It's just I don't know if we really got to test with this deck what I was hoping the deck could theoretically do in a normalized, I'll put quotes around that, normalized modern format. we ran into decks I'd never seen, or at least seen in a long time. I mean, I've seen a lot of decks in my day just because of the nature of my stream and that I like to brew and build, and I'm always looking for weird decks. So we played a lot of weird decks. The only like typical modern deck or normalized was Hollow One. I wouldn't even call Lantern normal right now, so we got to play against... They were cool decks, though. So what you guys missed earlier was we played against like a mono-red goblin prison thing. Definitely a deck after your own heart, Fluffy. What else did we play against? We played against a... The second deck was really cool. I can't remember what it was, though. Guess it must not have been that cool if I can't remember, right? I know we played against Lantern. Oh, we played against a Waste Knot deck. That was sweet, too. And then we came up against Hollow One. Yep, that's very true. Or maybe we'll see people doing some other stuff with artifacts now that the theoretical best way to... well, we're on the draw. Might actually keep this when we're on the draw. Opponent's name is Calm Down. That's great. Oh, that was weird. I was just trying to wish him a good luck, have fun. GLHF. Alright. Huh. Hang on a second. Moto is doing Moto things to us now. Great. Don't tell me we got that error. Sometimes that happens when you're going through Windows. I was just trying to get the chat room going. I mean, before I try rebooting, I'm definitely going to try to get to the play lobby. Oh, now it's crashing. Okay, here we go. Alright, maybe it'll let us get back in there. Details. No, I don't think it's going to let us get back in. I'll try a couple different things, like minimize, resume, maximize. Like, I see it in the other window. Like, when I go to Alt-Tab on my other screen, like, I see it there. There we go. Maybe that'll do it. Hide event. Now let's reopen the event. There we go. Okay. Sometimes there's a little workaround you can do. It's frustrating, but it's definitely faster than rebooting the client, losing like 10 minutes of my clock. Alright, could be Hollow One again. Looks to be something different theoretically. I don't plan to pay with a game. Are we just going to have another Hollow One match? That'd be sad. That wouldn't be very exciting. If I was my opponent, I would definitely take the Spirit Guide here. Magic is a resource game. It's a very small chance that it's some form of shadow, but most likely... Well, it might be a form of shadow. Might not necessarily be Hollow One. I was just hoping to show you guys some other decks. I was hoping that we wouldn't run into the same matchup multiple times tonight. Takes the dominance. Okay. I don't want to necessarily know that we drew the Scalding Tarn. I think I'd be okay playing the land that he knew about just to conceal a little bit of information. So he may change up what he does based on whether or not he thinks we missed land. Well, looting kind of says Hollow One. We shall see. Yeah, I don't want to pay a whole game just to reboot the client. That's never good. Hope you guys are having a good time out there. Definitely missed you guys. It's been a little bit. You guys been up to anything interesting since I saw you last? Oh, it is Shadow. Okay. Fair enough. You don't think it is Hollow One? Well, we got our answer. It's Grixis Shadow. I still feel like I'd take the Spirit Guide. But, I mean, I don't know what the rest of his hand looks like. So that's fair. I do not know. We do want the extra potential to hit land here, so I'm not going to fetch. Didn't get there. We could suspend a wheel. Seems a little on the weak sauce side. Okay, so for Cryptics, we want lots of blue mana, but for the dominances, we want red. There's more dominances than there are. Granted, there's blue requirement for what? Jace and Time Warp, but fine, just doing this. Now they do have, I mean, it's the same suspend, same amount of time to suspend as, ooh, Double Shadow. Okay. Well. We're probably dead now. But we also just miss a lot of land drops. It happens. This is probably, regardless of most what most opponents are playing, we're probably dead if we're just gonna miss land drops. And that's kind of, I guess that was my biggest criticism with the list in the first place. I did have a lot of fun with it, but I also feel strongly that fine with Relic. I don't really want Graph Diggers. I know they're a Snapcaster Mage deck, but I don't think I really want the Cage as well. Things might be fine. These came in a lot. Blood Moons are good here. Explosives is pretty efficient. They can get under the commands. Chandra doesn't quite cut it here. Maybe Jace is still fine. Exhaustion is only so good. So, like, Grixis Shadow is actually a pretty reactive deck. I don't think these are where we want to be. I almost would rather just still have, like, things like Pierce or the Chandra or even the Cryptics. They're going to be trying to disrupt us with everything from Counter Squall to this might be correct to come in. We could cut a Dominance, we could cut a Wheel. Honestly, maybe the deck wants Remand. Maybe Brandio. I think the deck just wants more land a little bit and maybe operate a little bit more like a traditional taking turns deck. So I wouldn't know exactly where to take it. I was excited about the concept when I saw Dominance. The idea of, because there have been players that have played even a more traditional As Foretold style of taking turns list to some success. But alright, so this is a hand that I think I'm interested in keeping. Granted, Inquisition or Thoughtseize, taking Moon or Simeon, it's like, alright. Not much I can do there, though, chat. We want to lead on Sulphur Falls because there's no basic here or fetch. Hey, what's up, disc jockey? How's it going? I don't know if that command's as true as it was back then when we were grinding back when I was in college, grinding Moto and learning Magic with you guys. Inseparable. Some of those memories. Sulphur Falls. Those were good times. Those were very good times. We're still enjoying some of those good times despite my foray into adulthood. But I don't. I wouldn't say that I'm like a robot and staying up all night anymore. Oh no, it's a Thoughtseize. Who knew? Yeah, Shadow tends to always do a turn one disruption spell. Hand disruption. No surprise there. I should know. I play quite a bit of Shadow and Paper. It's a fun deck to play. You really get to wrap your mind around, where does my life total need to be? Kind of think of some weird lines. So it does make it a very rewarding deck. There's a lot of players that shy away from it because of that, extra thought involved. But I do think it makes for an interesting deck. Who knew he'd take the Blood Moon? Oh yeah, Raccoon. It's exactly what the robot overlords would want us to think. Right? He didn't see that one, so we'll do that. Okay, so I just turned 28 on Wednesday. I am 28. That is a number. Well, after I hit 20, you can no longer count how old you are on your toes and your fingers. I am older than the toes and fingers on my body. That's old, right? It's a lot of fingers and toes. A lot of years on this planet, right? But actually, it's just a blip in existence. If you wanna go big picture, just a flicker of flame, I was reading this article. You guys might find this interesting. He was that entrepreneur that created some sort of weird health craze with like telling people to put butter in their coffee. Anyway, I was reading that, and he claims, I can't remember his name, but he claims to want to be the first person to live to be like 100 and, X number of like 150 or something ambitious like that. I am older than 22. Oh man, it's a good Gurmag. That's a turn 2 Gurmag. Oh, he's a bauble build. That's why. Yeah, bauble builds do a little bit better getting them out into play. I'm impressed. I'm not mad. Not mad at all. Not even mad. Why would you want to live that long? I know, right? Ooh, explosives. Okay. We'll play on. We'll play on. We're not giving up. Not giving up just yet. I'm still younger than your wife. Uh-huh. But don't tell your wife. She wouldn't like knowing that. She wouldn't watch my show anymore, Ike. Okay. You know what I could have done though? In response, I could like fire off the. Nah, it's not worth. I mean, our plan is just to blow up the shadow. Right? I don't think we want to take 7. Is a good fetch. Colors are good. We can get an island. Kablam. That's the sound that an engineered explosives makes, by the way. If you didn't know that, chat, now you know. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know that engineered explosives made that sound every time you've ever cast it. Ooh, don't have the counterspell opponent. Oh, he has it. Surgical, okay, well that's not a counterspell. It's an aggressive surgical to bring in. So we get to Jace bounce the Gurmag, which always feels nice. just a soft little wham. It's like puff, poof, wham. I was thinking the same thing, Brandio, but watch us still lose the matchup. Shadow can be really good at disruption, for sure. Is it a significant age difference? I don't think that's a big deal. That's not all that weird. You know? Alright, don't have the counterspell. You don't have it, opponent. Just let this resolve. Just let it happen. Just let it be. Let it be, let it be. Just let me do the Jace thing. We also could have set up the temporal with the Jace, but I think I like bouncing the Gurmag a little better. Oh no. Snapcaster Mage. Okay. Wait, is he gonna put himself to 1? So he's taking the dominances, so we can't spike him with the dominance. Is there a different way we could deal the 1 damage somehow? I know, he's like, what is this deck? And then Jace was befallen by the Snapcaster. Well, I think we're going to get beat down by a Snapcaster Mage, chat. And by that I mean he's going to recast the Gurmag Angler. More like it. Bolt me. You couldn't accidentally target yourself. The FIFA Snapcaster. Right. Freddie Mercury Tazagers earlier tonight, and now we're up against FIFA Snapcaster Mage. The FIFA edition. Oh man, has somebody altered this to put a soccer ball right under his left leg? That would actually be perfect. I would buy that alter. It does look like he's about to kick a soccer ball. Maybe. I could totally see that. Somebody should make that a thing. Anybody know an alter that would just put a soccer ball like right there? And then we died. Man, we just couldn't find the lands, yo. Couldn't start doing taking all of the turns. Well, that's a whiff. Had all these, opponent. Hey, at least we had a good time, though, guys. We had a very generous host tonight from not only Sean McLaurin, but also, I believe I was hosted by Fluffy Wolf. Really appreciate that. And you know what? We cast this and had a good game. I had a fun league. Did we burn 12 tickets? Yes. But you know what? We also received the gift of Tier 3 sub from Nick, and that's the gift that keeps on giving. Thanks for spending my belated birthday stream with me. My name's Sean. This has been an episode of the Brew Spy the Magic Guy show where I try to bring you guys wonderful decks, even if they're bad. But you can't know something's bad until you try it. Did Electrodominance fix the taking turns with the red splash for things like, Blood Moon and stuff? No, it didn't. But I like what Nick was telling me. Nick was telling me that he saw like a Goryo's Vengeance style, or I should say a Pestermite Kikijiki style of Living End, which I did like the sound of. Engineered explosives. What? What am I watching? What am I looking at? Oh, you just clip what we. That's the sound that engineered explosives makes. If you didn't know that, chat, now you know. And now you know. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. True words of wisdom. I'm not just saying that because that was me. I'm kidding. Shouldn't quote yourself. So I think the deck was fine. It's relatively cheap too, especially if you subtract the Jaces. Like this was not very many tickets at all. I do still have the Wizards deck built. And then maybe I will go to the event in Jersey this weekend. Maybe I won't. It's Jersey, New Jersey is not that far from. Just take a little road trip. This was the Wizards deck we kind of worked on for a while. This was kind of a fun, definitely a powerful. We had a lot of fun with this during Eldrazi Winter, but that was back when it was even playing things like Snaring Bridge. But yeah, I think the Swords pack. Actually, we rebrewed this, didn't we? Or we thought about the Swords package being just too heavy. I think I still stand by that. Although I don't mind like a sword, a Fire Ice maybe in the 75, but I think this was. I think we'd want those card slots back. There we go. It's a little better. I think main board Sower's fine right now, actually. So it gives us more room for things. What things I'm not sure. I'm a little on the tired side, so I'm not sure. I mean, we could add more Vendilion Clicks. Click is a pretty solid wizard to be playing multiple copies of. Even if it's just 2. We could also even play. What is the name of that card? The Stifle Wizard. Not the Husher or the Shusher, but the one that came out. What is it called? Obstructionist, Nimble Obstructionist. I think that's a wizard. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm pretty sure. I thought it was a wizard. It is. It's a bird wizard. Hadn't thought about putting that in the wizard stack. Where's your Nehru Meha? Nehru? If that's how you pronounce Nehru. I remember Nehru coming out from Dominaria. No, that's not how you spell it though. Is it more like Naru? It's definitely Meha. Always helps when you guys. Okay, yeah, there's also Naban. I don't know if Naban would be good here. Yeah, there have been like some wizards that have come out since we built or brewed this that I haven't really had the chance to test. Is it 2 A's? No, I guess it's 1. So, I mean, sure, that would double trigger Sower. That's kind of a powerful little interaction. What else would it double trigger? It would double trigger Master of Waves, wouldn't it? What about Wizard's Retort? Yeah, there's like lots of little things we could think about. I mean, I've still not been very impressed with the Curse Catchers just moving forward with the deck at all. I've never been a huge fan. I just think they don't do enough. I think this makes sense in like Fish, especially, like Fish doesn't really exist in Modern anymore, but you know what I'm saying. Like we could go back to playing the Bolts, like kind of going a little bit more into like what like Blue-Red Wizards looks like, except with like a toolbox. So we could kind of go into that, perhaps kind of a build. Yeah, we could play like Retorts maybe. We could play some Bolts. We've been on and off about Bolt in the deck previously. I mean, we've tried to go pure creature, but I think Bolt is just so tempting. It's hard to justify pure creature. And then we still have 3 slots if we cut the Curse Catchers, which I'm not a huge fan. We could test like a singleton copy of some of these other wizards. Meha, of course, only really matters with... I mean, the Anthem is relevant. The other effects are not as relevant if we're only playing like some Bolts. Alright, Silver, Harbinger. Yeah, I think Naban makes more sense for this because we have a lot of wizard triggered abilities. Yeah, she's just an Anthem exactly, which is not a bad thing, but we kind of have like Sage of Fables is already an Anthem for us, So I'd be down for Naban, like some number of copies of Naban. Yeah. Naban also doubles Sage of Fables. I could see as many as 2 copies of him. A lot of that has to do with just the fact that he's a legendary. Legendary. I mean, I'd rather not use something like Wizard's Retort, to be honest. Like, I kind of would rather that counter magic comes from the Prodigies and the Glenelendra Archmages. Just putting that out there. But I mean, maybe this is worth testing. You know. I mean, I've never hated the idea of blue counterspell. The problem is, like, some turns we are tapping out, but, like, hopefully the Aether Vial gets going. Now you can return multiple slivers. I would probably want to... I've wanted to main deck the Temptation. It's been tempting to do that for some... Tempting. It's been tempting to do that for some time. I mean, maybe this would be a better configuration. I don't know. And then maybe we sideboard the Retort. I have no idea. I mean, honestly, oh, our mana is not that hurt by that. We cut the Mutavaults, didn't we? No, we didn't. I think that's a little aggressive. Because at least the Caverns work into the Harbinger and the Prodigy and Click and everything. We'd probably still be better off with, what's that one counterspell that a lot of these kind of like creature-heavy blue decks will run? They'll run... oh gosh, what is it? Unified Will would still probably go off most of the time. The only time it wouldn't is if we're up against another creature deck and they were a little bit more creature dense than us, then Retort might be better. It's close. This is just, the mana's not great for Wizard's Retort. So this might be better. I also don't know if I like the random Blood Moon. Like, we already have some Blood Moon effects that are tutorable. I almost would rather, yeah. Hard to say. The Trinket Mage, what does Trinket Mage grab? The cages and explosives, that's it. It seems a little, I don't want to say loose, it just seems. Also, maybe we should be doing the split of Graph Diggers and Relic of Progenitors. I know. I said I was going to bed, and then we started thinking about this deck. Happens. I've never really been happy with Curse Catcher in this deck. I know it's a wizard, I know, but there are other things we could be doing. Champion of Wits is cool with Naban. Brewing is better. I don't know about that. So room for a sideboard card. Well, part of that, yeah, that came about because we moved the Sower to main. I don't know if that justifies the Trinket Mage. I guess it gives us some options. Removal that we don't otherwise have, or Graveyard Hate, or like Company Hate, or yeah, there you go. Collected Company Hate, like things we don't normally have access to fighting. Kind of expands the sideboard a little bit. It's just theory, chat. You know, we don't have to get all cerebral about it. It's hard for me to get that cerebral at the end of a... I did work a long day at work today too, so... I mean, maybe I'll be able to steal away for a little bit of weekend hangout time with you guys. But yeah, this is a list that was near and dear to us that we've tinkered with on and off. And again, I don't hate the idea of some number of Ensnaring Bridge, actually. We've tested bridges in this list on and off, and a lot of that has to do with how Sage works. Sage isn't really an anthem, it's +1/+1 counters. Excuse me. And we have the ability to take those counters away. Obviously, most of our creatures are at least power 2. In fact, all or most of them. So, like, in that regard, I mean, although we have some flyers, right? So, it depends. We used to be, I would say, a better Ensnaring Bridge deck, and that was kind of back in like Eldrazi wintertime, when we really wanted those kinds of effects. I don't think it's as relevant anymore. What about Benthic Biomancer? So it's Merfolk for Silvergill. Oh yeah, that's something that I'm worried about switching out of, right? So if we lose the Curse Catcher, then the Silvergill are a little bit more. That's true. Some of our creature choices did have to do with having a certain number of Merfolk just to make sure that this isn't always need Aether Vial. How many Merfolk do we still have? We'll take one away because theoretically it has to see one of the others. So, I mean, if you want to stretch it, you could argue that the Aether Mages could find a Merfolk. So we're really stretched here, right? It's only, if you want to count these, 15. So with Curse Catcher, we were at a healthier 17, give or take, plus 1 or 2 Aether Mages. I mean, I'd be down to try it. So it doesn't have any of the counter magic, obviously, potential that the other had, but this, I am my life's work. That's cool. So it'll grow on its own, and then of course, it's automatically triggered by the Sage. Yes. So, I mean, you could count these two. This is an interesting thought, though. Yeah, I mean, if you want to get nitty gritty, technically both the Aether Mages and the Aether Vials could make this work. Make the Adepts work. Yeah, but with Sage, you can remove it, adapt it to draw 2, discard 1. Well, right, yes. So Sage allows us to take the counters off of the Biomancer, and then we put him back on. So yes, this actually does have some neat interactivity going on. And bolts weren't, now mind you, the bolts weren't here before either. So there's a lot of like tweaking that still can be done. And again, we could sideboard the extra Magus of the Moon, we could sideboard the Sower, we could sideboard the Click. It just depends on how we want things to shake up. Honestly, I'm not sold on Biomancer, but it seems like... Well, we don't have to play a playset either. It's just kind of a neat little synergy for Sage of Fables that is a 1-drop. So... Yeah, I mean, Merfolk Wizard is where we really want to be, creature type-wise, just because of... due specifically to Silvergill Adept. If we can have both Wizard and Merfolk, that's where we're most happy. But yeah, I mean, we haven't played a playset of bolts in this list in a while. I mean, maybe we don't go this route. The red really is just supposed to be a small hint. Like if you look at it from my perspective, a lot of our mana base is what? Not red. A lot of it. So that's why, you know, like basically the only cards in the deck that truly need red mana and not even Cavern or can't be cast off of or filed in are just the Vandal Blasts. So that's one of the reasons why. Like we would have to change the mana base a little bit, chat, if we were to play some bolts. So just something to think about. We could play like a bolt, I mean, or 2. I'm not exactly sure. You know. He's stronger in a Wizard's Retort style. Like it with the Void Mage? You mean the Aether Mage? Oh, Void Mage, yeah. Void Mage Prodigy. Well, this is how we'd rather be countering. We'd rather than just running a bunch of like Wizard's Retorts. No, we do have stuff to do with our mana. It's like his activation, Archmage. You're looking at Sage of Fable's ability. So we do, or we're Wizard cycling. Like we do have things to be doing with our mana. Animating Mutavault. No, this deck's very near and dear to my heart. We spent a lot of time on earlier versions of this deck. So, I mean, maybe we could try like a Bolt or two. We can even do like a 2-3 split just to... I mean, we've messed around with Bolt in the list before. It's not like that's anything new or special. It's just I don't know if I like the playset of Bolts just because the mana is not really there. It's like 12 red sources. So for that reason, I don't want to run too many Bolts, but Bolt is Bolt. We could do something like that. Like maybe we don't want to play a playset of Biomancer, but maybe we want to try 2 or 3 copies. Like if you want to really test a card, like you want to be in the realm of 3 or 4 copies if you want to actually see it a reasonable amount of the time. So what about that? How about that? And again, maybe we shouldn't have double main board Magus of the Moon. Like maybe it should even be 1 click, 1 sideboard Magus of the Moon. So that, you know, we can still tutor for him game 1 if it's relevant, but it's not. I just noticed that there were a lot of games where we were reaching for Magus of the Moon, so that's kind of why I had the second copy main board. Modern feels really red heavy right now, though. Yeah, I mean, so maybe that's why we would do like a 1-1 split if we were going to play Magus anyway. Now, I'd be interested in testing things like Naban and Biomancer. I could pick all these cards up like tonight, and then we don't have to necessarily. It's kind of a pain to switch in and out of cards. I don't know if you guys have. Well, most of you guys in chat won't have done the loan program that Card Hoarder offers. I shouldn't say annoying. It's very generous. I very much appreciate the ability to borrow cards. But sometimes I'll like to brew on an idea, and I don't want to necessarily swap the cards out until I've explored every avenue. So we could maybe explore this sometime. Slightly different build. Or, I mean, even we could just main board the Dismember. You know, the thing about it is, it's like, at least Bolt goes face. Kind of like maybe just leaving the Dismember in the sideboard. Because, like, worst case scenario, even if there isn't something worth stealing, Sower still Sower still has wings. It still attacks. You know, worst case scenario, it's still a threat. Whereas the Dismember is a dead card should there not be a target. Anyway, guys, I'll screenshot this deck as well. And if you want to play it, please do. Let people know where you found it. Originally, we've put a lot of work into this list collectively, so you're not just doing me a disservice, but also all the people here on the BrewSpy channel that have helped me brew it over the years. Same goes for like Robopod, a lot of other decks we made here. It's not so much that I'm worried about my own credit or whatever. It's more like these are collective projects, and it's kind of sad if it ends up somewhere, and kind of like the whole Vic thing that happened with the Star City Circuit, but it's a story for another time. I'll see you guys. It's past midnight. Bedtime. But I will host another streamer just because that's the right thing to do. Anybody have a recommendation for me hosting? Someone to host? Otherwise, I'm just going to find something. Doing it because it's the right thing. I see Boot to the Head is streaming. He's a dear friend. Bit of Arena. Playing some Mardu. It's cool. Yeah, thanks for the birthday wishes, Kamikaze. Did I see Kenobi piloting Robopod? No, you should send me a stream. I would love to see somebody else's take on Robopod for sure. Definitely send me a link. Kenobi's streamer, if I'm not mistaken, right? Brian Cook's playing Epic Storm. That's sweet. What do you guys want to watch? More modern or legacy? Where should I send you guys? Some, ooh, we got somebody playing. Looks like some form of high tide. That's tempting. I also know the streamer. This is Elif. That's probably where I'm gonna send you. Actually, he's reasonable. Demi Eyes is live. He's got the Waste Not Brews. Actually, he beat us earlier. He was in our league. We should definitely host over there so we can have some nice banter. And he's like, "Oh yeah, we beat you earlier, BrewSpy." Oh man, there's a spellbinder though. All right, I'm gonna send you over to because I know at least that Demi Eyes has clean content, which definitely want to send you there if I can. Yeah, what about a Waste Not Brew? I'm gonna send you here, guys. You won't be disappointed. It's a cool deck. Exactly. You can talk about me getting destroyed by that. That's a good idea. Should do that. It's a nice little banter. All right. I'll see you guys though on the next BrewSpy the Magic Guy. If you haven't followed, please do so you know when I'm going to go live because my schedule's a little sporadic at the moment, which is why I feel a little guilty about the sub from Nick. But Nick's very generous like that. I think he'll be okay with that even if the schedule's a little irregular at the moment. So, I'll see you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Goodbye.
Hey, Brew. Hey, man, thanks for the host.